Hello everyone, my name is Nick, this is Deep Dives and welcome to Interview Sessions. Today I'm honoured to be joined by the extremely talented, exceptionally funny and impossibly good looking Ben Starr. From his humble beginnings playing a street urchin in Les Mis, Ben went on to star in TV shows such as Dickensian and Jamestown before landing the role of Clive Rosfield in last year's absolute banger Final Fantasy XVI, and more recently has taken up D&D with an awesome crew on Natural 6. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thank you. You said you were getting into character, but my God, what a character that is. What a voice. Wowee. I could listen to that.
Oh, wow.
I could listen to that. It's like a calm app. You have the voice, you know, it sends me to sleep in a good way.
High praise, I'll take it. Someone in my YouTube comments once referred to me as the David Attenborough of video games, and that has stuck with me. So I'll.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll take that.
I'll take it.
I'll take that for you.
Thanks. Yes.
Yeah.
We've done it.
Great.
But yeah, an absolute pleasure to have you on and chat to you. Before we start properly, you've spoken before about how, as a gamer, you've always wanted to reach out to people when you've played a game and thank them for the role in bringing that game to life. I listened to that, and the first thing I wanted to do was return the favour and thank you for doing your part in Final Fantasy XVI, bringing Clive to life. So, thank you.
Thank you for thanking me. I think it's a very small thing, but it's something I always feel like I need to do because in any industry, in any sort of entertainment industry, you create a relationship with characters that you watch. They take you on an emotional journey. They're kind of the stewards of the story, and I think it's impossible to understand whether being a steward in that story is going to affect anyone. It doesn't affect everyone. You know, some people don't like Final Fantasy XVI. That's totally fine. But people who do and resonate with Clive's story, it's always nice to kind of hear people say nice stuff. And I've always felt like I needed to. I mean, I drunkenly reached out to Sony Bend after spending 60 hours on Days Gone, thanking them for the game. They never responded. They never responded. I think it's an underrated banger, to be honest. It really is, I mean, I got the platinum trophy on it, and I was really wasted. I think I just done like 2 bottles of wine, seeing it off, and I was like, I'm going to miss you guys. And I sent them a DM. I mean, just the random Twitter account. It's just Drunk Ben. I still think I should find it, really. So Sony Bend, please answer my... That's why you didn't get a sequel, because you didn't respond to my DM.
You should have been in the sequel, that's the thing.
I love that game. But I feel like it's always lovely to do that. And if I ever see an artist or a creative who's been involved in work that I really appreciate, I'll always just go and say, I really like what you did, and then leave. You know, I'm not expecting a conversation or anything in return. I just want to let them know that. And it's been so amazing how people have done that for me and have been really respectful with it and have been really lovely. And I think Clive's story is very affecting to a lot of people who it resonates with. So thanks.
That's all right. Obviously, you know, while we're on the subject, we'll kick things off with Final Fantasy XVI, and you've spoken a lot about Final Fantasy XVI already, so I'm going to try not to repeat stuff you've already been asked many times.
Cool.
We're almost a year gone since release. The DLC has recently dropped, and it's been an incredibly busy year for you. Now that the dust has settled, how are you doing? Has it sunk in yet that you and your colleagues crafted one of the finest games released last year?
Yeah, I think it's sunk in that we did a good job. I think it'll never sink in that I get to be a part of the industry that means so much to me in the way that I am now a part of it. That I get to work alongside or kind of stand, not shoulder to shoulder, but I get to go up to people as kind of a peer in that way. That's really neat. I'm never going to fully comprehend the scale of how this game has affected those who really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I understand it in numbers, but I don't understand it in kind of emotional weight, because again, experiences are so personal. You know, lots of people didn't play it. But it's been a journey, because it's not just been a journey of the game, it's been a journey of me kind of renegotiating my relationship with the Final Fantasy franchise. That's been the weirdest thing.
I bet.
It was the weirdest. It's so strange because these games are events for me. They are huge events, and the release of 16 was a huge event, but in a completely different way, and one that maybe I didn't enjoy. I don't think I enjoyed it. I think I found it very stressful.
Yeah.
I found it nerve-wracking. I felt like I was being evaluated on every level. My worth was literally in the balance, and my worth was literally in the balance with the thing that means the most to me in entertainment. And that's so crazy, you know. For some people, Final Fantasy XVI was the worst thing that happened to Final Fantasy. You know, it wasn't what they wanted. And but other people, it's amazing, and somewhere in between is whatever experience you want from it. And you know, I'm probably being quite brutally honest about that, but you know, there is that discourse out there. You know, it's a huge departure from what some people know. From others, it's a continuation of that franchise. I can only ever speak to my experience doing it, and I really hope that people who did enjoy it really liked what I did with the character of Clive. I feel like I've been able to do stuff with him that I wouldn't have otherwise had the freedom to do with other characters. But when it comes to how do I feel? I think I feel pretty good. Good. You know,
as you should.
But you don't know when it's happening to you. I felt so much pressure. I felt the pressure to be interesting. I felt the pressure to be the version of myself that maybe people thought that I was. There's a lot going on, as you know, and there still is a lot going on. I'm very lucky. I'm working on, you know, it's opened up so many doors, and I'm getting to work on projects and franchises that I never thought I'd get to work on, with people who I'd never thought I'd get to work with. And I don't think I'm a better actor than I was a year ago. But I think that people have accepted that there is something there, and I'm being provided with new opportunities, and that's really, really lovely. And I'm being given that creative freedom to play, and I feel like do good work in new ways. And I don't just want to be Clive Rossfield for the rest of my life, you know. So that's why I've kind of maybe been very out there as me. I put myself out there because I'm like, I don't just want to be Clive. I want to be Ben. Yeah. You know, the guy who loves games, the guy who loves talking about games, the guy who loves being in games, the guy who just loves acting and being an idiot and like making it cool to talk about the things that you love and make it cool to be an idiot. I really love that sometimes I just be like, oh, I'm going to talk about a video game that I like. I'm going to say that I like Ni no Kuni. I'm going to say that I like, you know, Yakuza. And people are like, oh, cool, he said he likes it. I like it too. You know, the reason I talk about loving Final Fantasy VIII so much is because I want people to feel like it's cool to like Final Fantasy VIII. It's nice to be in a position where if you say something, it gives people feel like they're allowed to say that they like it as well. And I love kind of providing the platform, very small, very aware that my platform is very small in the grander scheme of life, but to say, yeah, it's cool to like stuff. And that's been neat. I feel that is a very long answer to what was a very simple question, but it's been a big year.
No, good. It's perfect. It's funny. I remember you saying that you were worried about being fired after they heard your young Clive performance. But it was that very performance that drew me in. I will admit, and please don't hate me for this, the idea of Final Fantasy XVI initially didn't excite me. And I think I was in a bit of a strange place back then, so it didn't really grab me. Then the demo came out, and I tried it on a whim, only to be completely sucked in by your performance and the story that came with it. And all of a sudden, I was looking forward to the release. Out of nowhere, I was just laser focused on Final Fantasy XVI. Then I played it all the way through and found your performance to be masterful. Sorry, if it sounds like I'm blowing smoke up your ass. I'm not.
Please do. I need it. I need some smoke.
Okay. I'm going to provide all the smoke right now. But I'm quite hard to convince when it comes to believing in how genuine a performance is. And I believed everything Clive was feeling and trying to convey. Now, this was a bit of long exposition for the question, but what is the most important thing to you when trying to capture those raw, powerful emotions? What makes it more believable?
What, for me, like capturing those emotions? You just got to go for it.
Okay.
You just got to go for it. I think a lot of people feel stupid doing it. It's really is it wounding is the word? It's revealing. It's really exposing to do all of those things. You lose control as a performer. Often you want to be in control of your performance, and I think you always should. But there are times when you don't, and you think, I'm just going to see what happens. And the end of the demo is the thing that people talk about. There's a couple of the pieces in that game that people really kind of resonate with, but it's the, I'll kill you, I'll effing kill you, which is not a good delivery of that line, but it's a line that it feels truthful in the moment. I think a lot of people hadn't really heard noises like that, come out of a protagonist in that way. You just gotta go for it. I wanted to find Clive is really controlled. He's quite a controlled guy, because I think he has gone through so much that he's suppressing the latent memories of, essentially being responsible for, I don't want to ruin it, but it's responsible for a lot of bad stuff. And so we kind of wanted to represent that. And there is obviously he presents like a brooding, hero-esque Batman-like persona, which we intentionally drew on for various reasons, so that we could break it, that we could break it apart in moments that really mattered. So he presents a version of himself, but then when he talks to Jill, or he talks to Joshua, or he talks to his mother, or when he's in those final moments of the game where he's reckoning with the reality that's literally lying in front of him, it means that you get something that is not as controlled. The team just kind of let me go for it, and it's something that I've kind of drawn into every game that I do from now on. I want to make it as real as I possibly can, whilst fundamentally understanding the performative nature of the job that we do. It's not real life; it's a facsimile of real life. So you need to kind of like reverse engineer that. It's a game, so you need to make people feel like the game that they're playing is like they remember real life being. And trying to do that is a real skill, because you don't want a real performance. You want a video game performance, but you want that video game performance to be the realest version of that video game performance that you can imagine. Which is I'm probably, people think I'm just overcomplicating it, but it's not. I don't think I am, because that's what I want. If you were to compare like the great video game performances with the kind of some of the great TV performances, you might find them very different.
You mentioned one recently from Death Stranding, actually.
Oh, Tommy L. Jenkins.
Yeah, Die Hardman. And it took me straight back. I was like, yep. Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's a sick performance. He's amazing in that. There's just some really great acting going on at the moment in games, and I mean, there's been amazing acting. People behind me just then.
We're under attack. Are we okay?
We're under attack. Yeah, that's East London for you. There have been some amazing video game performances, and I was very fortunate to be in a year where there were just legions of them, and I've gotten to just seeing like the work this year that certain people did, and getting to play it, and getting to meet. I think I got to meet Yuri Lowenthal the day after I just finished Spider-Man 2.
Oh, amazing!
And so I went to dinner with him. We had this kind of dinner for the Golden Joysticks, and I sat down and I was like, "I love you. I've just played your game." And it's just neat, because there's so much good work out there, and I think that because of the fidelity of what we can produce now in video games, we can get the stuff that Tommy did on, Death Stranding, or you can get obviously the iconic work that has been produced by pretty much everyone in the Naughty Dog stable, of like those subtle, brilliant, reserved, punishing performances that kind of Troy and Ashley did in The Last of Us. They're just absolutely amazing. It's cool. It's cool to be to get to explore that and be a part of what hopefully is the future of what we can do. in that medium.
And I say you spent was it 4 years?
4 years.
4 years voicing Clive. It's funny. Did you ever find it hard afterwards to not talk as Clive? Is it hard to break that, or is it something you can just switch off?
My fiance would know when I've done a big long session, because she'd come back and be like, "You're doing the voice again." Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because it's essentially my voice, but it's a version of my voice. It's a video game version of my voice. I have met people when they go up to me and they're like, "Ow, you don't sound like him." I'm like, "No, because I was actually pretending. I was pretending. It wasn't. It's not real." But I think people want me to sound like this the whole time, and I can't. Because you wouldn't be able to hear me, you know. I'm not this close to a microphone the whole time.
You said a lot of people come up to you and do impression or try to do impressions of Clive, right?
Yeah. Do you have one? Do you want to do one right now?
Oh God,
yeah.
What? No, I could try, but I think
you do it. Have a go. Do you have one? Do you have one do you have one lined up in the chamber?
I need a line.
The only fantasy here is yours, and we shall be its final witness. Do that.
The only fantasy here is yours, and we shall be its final witness.
See, it's good. It's good. All you've got to do is just sound like you're really...
Wait.
Yeah, that's good.
I went a bit Geralt there, didn't I?
Yeah. Actually, no, Geralt is way deeper than you think. So I do D&D with Doug Cockle, and we were doing like voices, and I was doing the Clive voice, and I was going, yeah, it's nice and deep. And then he did Geralt, and I went, whoa, that is some bass. That man can go low. It's crazy.
In another time and space, a long time ago, I actually interviewed Doug on another show. Super nice guy.
He's awful. He's an awful person.
Is he bad in real life? Okay.
Awful. He's bad. No, he's amazing. Doug Cockle is just the most beautiful, interesting. He has the most fascinating worldview. He's just hilarious. He comes out with the most remarkable one-liners. I'd love to live a day inside Doug's head. And for a person who is so his performance as Geralt is so influential. I don't think people give it enough credit for how important it is. That's 3 games, it's not just The Witcher Wild Hunt, it's all of them. And I think Henry Cavill absolutely nicked Doug's performance. It's he even said he did. It's a brilliant performance and so subtle. It's that same thing we were talking about, where it exists in a very particular tone, and then when Geralt gets drunk or he gets high or he kind of morphs into something else, there's this cheekiness. Like in Hearts of Stone, he does some stuff that's just kind of crazy, and it's just he's so brilliant in it, and his ability to take something that is so seemingly simple and so elegantly elasticize it or pull it in different directions so that it it suits. It's very, very good. I think he's, and also a lovely guy.
No, he's I say it was quite a while back, but I have fond memories of that time. Going back to that line that you made me say for a second, which I'm not convinced I did very well. It's funny when that line, no context, because it comes at a pivotal moment in the story. But did you have that sort of moment, the Leonardo DiCaprio from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where he sort of gets off the chair and points at the... Did you have that moment when you were saying it?
I say a lot of lines in this game, and some of them really, really stick out, and you're like, these are really, really important lines. I didn't have time to think about it. I knew that it was a really important line to say, and I knew that people would, resonate with, but I actually think I said it maybe once. We went, yeah, that's the take. Because it is kind of mid-battle, there's other things, and I was looking at the animation, and I went, yeah, because he kind of winds up, and so the action of Clive kind of, it does everything for you. He's winding up the sword before he just kind of flies it through the air. So there's
It's like, oh, he said the name. He said the thing.
He said the thing. That's Koji. Him. I mean, this is ridiculous. But fun. Really, really fun. I'm so glad I got to say it. And yeah, the only fantasy here is yours. So stupid.
It is the best kind of cheese. If I can.
Yeah.
Because it is cheese.
It's so cheese. It's the cheesiest thing. But it's fun because I think you just got to believe it. Like, give me a terrible line any day, and I love the challenge of making it work. I really enjoy the puzzle of that. So if we were to get something, if I ever get a line that I don't think works, and the director and the writer maybe are thinking, well, how do we move around this? It doesn't quite. It maybe worked when it was being written, but now in place it isn't as good. I always like to just see if I can make it work. That's a fun challenge as an actor, and then the alchemy of the writer, director, performer making something that should actually be shit work quite well. And that's because the writer has written a line that in theory works. In place, maybe it doesn't, but the director's able to move me in a direction where I go, okay, try it like this. And actually it does. And so it goes through kind of like all of the, the peaks and troughs of working and not working, and finally solving that to it so it kind of doesn't sound bad is really fun. But that one, I just think it kind of just worked.
Hey, the sillier the better. That's what I say.
The sillier the better, yeah. Give me a silly line to say.
I wasn't going to mention this, but like some of the action sequences in 16, especially when you're fighting Titan.
Yeah.
Oh my lord, I lost it because I don't know if you ever played a game called Asura's Wrath.
I know about Asura's Wrath, yeah.
I have a thing.
Nice. I mean, it's so that, isn't it?
That's a homage to that, because that game means a lot to me for many reasons, but that is just silly, and that fight against Titan, I was just like, this is exactly everything I want. Thank you.
I remember. So what would happen was, like, every month or so, Koji and I would have like a Zoom catch up. So like almost like midday on a Saturday, we would chat for an hour and a half over Zoom, and he'd give me updates. So that even if we weren't recording that month, he could let me know what was going on with the game. And so he'd send me like early cuts of the trailers. He'd give me, he'd show me clips of like Clive running around the hideaway. And I remember him showing me the Titan Lost sequence and being like, do you want to hear Soken's music? And it was mad because I think he's vocals on it. He wrote the lyrics. He writes all the lyrics for all the music. And I was like, you're doing this? This is not what I expected for it. It's just like full kind of like metal, like just really, it's great. It's great. And it's very primals, it's very cool.
Oh, I loved it. Right. Moving on now to gaming in general.
Yes.
One of the things that made me happy was the fact that you are a gamer, and pretty much as hardcore as I am from what I understand. You keep mentioning platinum trophies, and I'm like, yes, this is a thing I can't seem to shift from my life. I just have to get a platinum trophy if I can. A problem. And I've heard you speak fondly of owning a Game Boy, and that brought back so many memories to me, having... You said about the black case, and immediately I was like, yeah, I remember the black case.
Yeah.
And carrying stuff. And then going on to play the correct Pokemon game, which is Pokemon Red.
Yeah.
And then moving on to you moved on to PlayStation, which is where you found your first true love, Final Fantasy VIII. And a lot of the time I do feel that 8 is very underappreciated. I'm not the biggest expert on 8, but I do remember loving it when I played it. The Gunblade was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. And Triple Triad was just so addictive. It was ridiculous. But I guess my question here is, what do you think is the most underappreciated Final Fantasy game?
I don't think there is one. I don't think there is an underappreciated Final Fantasy, because I think what I have learnt is I could pretty much say I like any Final Fantasy, and you'll get people come out of the woodwork go, yeah, this is great. I think we're always in a... This is not a franchise of... it's an anthology series. Every game has its own very distinct identity. It's held together by motifs, ideals, that an emphasis on story and character and world building. But they are different games. Obviously, when 16 came out, the identity of what Final Fantasy was very much a conversation that dominated the discourse. You know, what is a Final Fantasy game? And which can lead to levels of toxicity, because people want to be able to define, they want to be the arbiters of what that definition is. And people get offended when you say something that isn't what they think. And that's just the horrible thing about certain discourses. I reckon if you got people in a room, it'd be like, we're all mates, but no, this has to be the thing, I hate you and whatever. And I think, you know, I adore Final Fantasy XII. I have a great friend of mine, two really great friends of mine, one of whom, if I were to say Final Fantasy XII is amazing, they go, yes, it's the best thing ever. Another one would go, Final Fantasy XII is the worst in the franchise. And that's great. I love that, because you should be able to both hate and love the games in equal measure, because they don't resonate with you. And if you don't like them, move on. I say I love 8, but I'm not asking people to love Final Fantasy VIII. I'm asking people who do love Final Fantasy VIII to be proud of loving Final Fantasy VIII. I'm not saying you need to love it because I love it. I'm not saying it's the best one. I'm just saying I really think it's great. And guys, let's celebrate those memories that we have. This franchise is so important to people because it informed so much of the way that they experience the world. When we're thinking of Final Fantasy as 30, 40-year-old individuals who are now fully grown adults with lots of money to spend on things like video games, often our first steps into video games might have been 7, 8, 9, 10. That's why we talk about it as the golden age. I'm sorry that I haven't said 6, you know, some people, but I think to a lot of people, 7, 8, and 9 are the games, because they're the ones that changed someone's life. You know, there's a huge controversy around. Huge controversy. I mean, this is not true. You know, I adore the Final Fantasy 13 stands, and they are stands, and they are great, because I am a person who got the Platinum Trophy on 13-2, and Lightning Returns. I did that, and I love them. They are weird, but they have what I think 13 has probably one of the strongest soundtracks in the entire series. I adore Sunlith Waterscape. I think it's absolutely stunning. I think that they have Dust to Dust is a top 5 Final Fantasy track for me. I love the journey. I love the battle system. Crazy. Right? It's a linear game, but there are so many things that I adore about it. I love how wacky it is. Like, Lightning Returns is a weird game. It's a world connected by a monorail. It's weird. But I love it because at the time that I was playing it created core memories for me.
Yeah. That's what's important, I think, is creating memories, because we always tie things we play to certain events in our life. I can tell you exactly where I was on the day. For instance, I was playing Final Fantasy X, and I was on the Thunder Plains, I think it was.
Yeah.
I remember exactly. It was a Sunday. I want to say I was 19, maybe, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's so vivid. But that's what's important, is the memories that these things create.
And I'm not describing a video game to you. I'm describing a time in my life when I was playing that video game and how it affected me. I'm not describing Final Fantasy VIII. I'm not describing the mechanics of Final Fantasy VIII. I am describing 10, 11-year-old Ben discovering this world for the first time and it having a profound effect on me. I don't care about the junction system. I genuinely don't. I don't care if you like the junction system or not. This game did things to me in the same way that 9 did, 10 did. I did everything on 10. Like, I respec the sphere grid. I mean, that's hard. When you respec it, that's when you get 50,000 health. You're doing 99,999 damage. I got all the celestial weapons. Everything spec'd out, because then you've got to get it with like all the different versions of it. So, you know, that's how you beat Penance. I defeated all the Dark Aeons.
Was Yojimbo in that one? Was it
Yojimbo. Yeah, you could pay Yojimbo like $1 million, and he'd slice penance in half. It's a cool game, but again, I'm not describing the game. I'm describing memories I had when I was playing that game. And Final Fantasy just so happens to be a franchise in which I was very present for those memories. And it was really important to inform those. That's why I think even though I'm playing objectively better games now, I sometimes don't have the same fond memories of playing those games. Even though those games I think are objectively better, is because it's diminishing returns, so I'm always so fortunate to play a game where I feel like I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life. Where I'm going to remember where I was in that moment, because at that point you're then cataloging and accounting for the experiences that you have in your life. That's why I love collecting platinum trophies, not because I love collecting trophies, but because I love looking back and seeing what I did, and going like, God, I remember where I was. That was cool. I'm looking at a memory. I'm not looking at a digital trophy. It's a little cupboard where I put the memories of my time in, and then I go, oh God, I remember when I spent 60 hours getting the platinum trophy for Crash Team Racing. Like what a horrible time. What a horrible person I became. I adored that game, but that is, if you want to get the platinum on that is absolutely, that destroys your life. Oh, no. It's a grind. Getting those oxide times, no way.
Well, if we want to talk about games where difficulty getting the platinum trophy, this actually leads quite nicely to my next question. You once mentioned one of the hardest boss battles in video games was the Orphan of Kos.
It was
Bloodborne. Do you play a lot of Soulsborne games, and why is Bloodborne the best?
It's because it is the best, so it just is the best. Just for obviously everyone wants a sequel to Bloodborne. I don't think it needs one. I think it's perfect. I think Bloodborne was my first Soulsborne game. It was my first FromSoft game. I hadn't played Dark Souls. It was 2016, and I was doing Jamestown at the time. I was filming in Hungary, and I brought my PlayStation, as I do everywhere. I bring my PlayStation on a big long job. I was filming for 6 months, and I hooked it up to I reprogrammed the hotel thing, and always bring an HDMI. I know how to bypass hotel systems and hook things up. Real tech guy.
You work in IT, right?
Pardon?
You work in IT?
Oh yeah, big IT guy. I love computers. So it was 2016, and I thought, I'm going to try this game that people keep talking about. It looks all right, and obviously I wasn't very good at it, but you're at that beginning in Yarnum for just a really long time, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to keep plugging away. And it was the repetitive nature. It was I think I'm getting a little bit stronger every single time. And then the Cleric Beast. That's right, Cleric Beast.
Yeah.
First one. Yeah. First boss? Don't know.
One of the early bosses for sure.
One of the early bosses. Yeah. I remember it was the moment where I beat the Cleric Beast that was the moment that it clicked. That is a long time in, but I think I'm addicted to this game. I think I'm addicted to this game because that was a hard boss and I defeated it. And then just kept going. And I didn't know where I was going, and the sense of dread and the sense of, I think I'm descending into madness and into hell, and I haven't found a place to rest in a long time. And then it teases you, and you're just on the edge, and then suddenly you find a shortcut and you're back and you're safe, and you're going, oh God. And that is addictive. Yep. That is so addictive. And I was obsessed with that feeling, and it was a horrible feeling, but it was an amazing feeling. It was like a really painful massage, going, I think I'm in pain, but this is really nice. Yeah. I've never felt more alive than playing Bloodborne on a video. And then that kind of got me hooked. And actually, I have never played a Dark Souls game. I've only played Bloodborne, Sekiro, Elden Ring, Demon Souls. Those games, of which I'm obviously like a day one purchase for me. Yeah. I got the platinum on Elden Ring. I was always going to do that. I don't know how I did. I don't know where those hours went, but I certainly did it.
How many times did you hear, I am Melania, Blade of Mikola?
Not as much as I thought I was going to. I think it only took me like an afternoon. It didn't take me a couple of days.
Decent.
Yeah, I accidentally was okay at it.
Okay.
But yeah, but Bloodborne is the atmosphere of Bloodborne is beautiful. The story. That's obviously where I discovered Vati Vidya. And
he is legendary in his videos.
Yeah, and I'd never seen game analysis like it. Again, it was just so seductive. The whole the culture around FromSoft games is beautiful. I think it's really beautiful because it's so dedicated and so meticulous. I really love the people who exist in that space. I wouldn't call myself like a hardcore FromSoft person at all, but I really appreciate the people who do dedicate themselves to it. And I don't think it is a get good attitude. I think there is a real celebration and understanding for figuring stuff out as a community and trying to learn more and more and more about what this world is.
And technically you can choose your own difficulty as well. Like there's no difficulty slider, but depending on the class you pick, you can make that game as easy or as difficult as you want, which is really good.
Bloodborne's just a badass game. But Sekiro is hard. Sekiro is significantly harder because I think there is not really a difficulty slider. It's like you just got to be good at the game. You got to get good at parrying.
Yes.
You get to Genichiro and you're like, yeah, I got to get good. I gotta help me. But no, Orphan of Kos is, I think, the hardest boss I've ever. I think it's just the most memorable boss. It was the one I felt the most proud of doing. It was the culmination of everything I'd done up to that point. I think I was playing that DLC on my third playthrough of it as well.
Right.
So I was going for the final ending at that point. So it was hard. Good game. Would recommend. Yes. Was happy when that little weird embryonic baby thing throwing its own placenta around a beach was done. Terrible. What a game. What a game.
I am yet to get a Hunter's Mark tattoo, but I am planning to get one at some point.
Oh, mate.
Just to add to my list of video games.
What have you got? What have you got for the viewers at home, please?
So, I don't know if you can see, there's an N7.
Foxhound as well.
Yep. There's Evil Within. Just there. Yeah. Resident Evil. This is from Street Fighter. We've got a Assassin's Creed.
Oh my god, just the hits then.
Just there. And then on this side we've got an Overwatch and a Dead by Daylight.
Lovely. Do you want to talk about Resident Evil? How long you got?
I mean, I could talk all night about Resident Evil. So
I adore Resident Evil. I was talking with a friend of mine last night about Resident Evil, and just is so good. It's so good. I would play those. That I think maybe after Final Fantasy, it's my favorite franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Maybe like that. Maybe then that's a lie. I'd say Mass Effect or Metal Gear Solid, but
Wesker is one of my favorite villains in a video game of all time.
Yeah. And which version of Wesker?
Specifically DC Douglas, I think.
Yeah.
Just because he is like, "Hello there, Chris." He's like, he's that kind of like, I don't know what it is. It's so good. He's so badass as well. So oh no, this is the danger now because I want to blow up about it.
Talk about Resident Evil. This is going to become a Soulsborne and Resident Evil
possibly
podcast.
Which will please the fans of the channel because they love horror. So
great. Oh, I'm about to play Crow Country, by the way. After this, I'll probably start playing Crow. Are you familiar with Crow Country?
I've seen it. I've not played it yet.
Yeah, I'm excited to devil. I'm playing Indica right now, and I'm loving the weird nun simulator that is Indica. Thank God, with video games like that can be made right now. It's incredible. But yeah, I'm in my indie bag right now. Okay. So Crow Country.
I'm working through Stellar Blade at the minute. So
are you?
That's an interesting game.
Yeah, I haven't played it. I won't get to play it this year. There's too many things to play. But it looks fun.
It's good action. Story a little bit on the weak side.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I think I've just finished 100 hours on Rise of the Ronin. So I was welcoming a sort of experience where I could kind of just switch my brain off a little bit and enjoy the action.
Yeah.
Which is it's serving a purpose so far, but I kind of want to move on to other stuff now.
Yeah.
But Resident Evil.
Yeah, let's go. I do know what you mean though about fatigue. Being like, I'm ready to move on with something, but you've kind of, you're in for a penny, in for a pound with that. I've committed all this time. You've got to see it through. When there's just so many other things on the shelf that you can look at. I used to be like, I can only do one thing, but I've become real kind of popcorn brain in the moment where I'm just like, I'll do something else for a bit. You've got to see. Have you got the platinum on Rise of Ronin now? Or are you gonna? Yeah, you have. Yeah, great. Move on. You've done it now.
Yeah,
you've got the members.
It's funny because with Rise of the Ronin, I think it's the same devs that made Neo, and Neo had a game, a sort of a system in it where the game, you didn't really start the game properly until you finished it, until you started New Game Plus, and this had a similar thing. You get to the end game and you unlock a whole bunch of stuff, and I was like, part of me wants to have a look, but I need to move on. It's
yeah.
So, but anyway, we're already wildly off track.
I don't mind. This is my fault. I apologise. You've done all this ridiculous planning, and I've gone, fuck it. Let's talk about Resident Evil.
No, it's good. It's good. I was thinking about sort of all the, because you mentioned Resident Evil a couple of times before. I think you said like Resident Evil 7, and that was a particularly scary one. But
terrifying.
I heard the story of is it you unplugged it from the wall at your friend's house? Is it?
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah.
I was laughing. That's brilliant.
Yeah, too terrifying. Well, like Resident Evil 2 was the first game I ever got on PlayStation. Resident Evil 2 and Gran Turismo were the first two games I ever got on PlayStation. And so, obviously, I was way too young to be playing Resident Evil 2. But I just thought, the beginning of that game is really cool and action-y. It presents itself as this really cinematic game. And I thought, that's cool. And I was drawn in by the fidelity that I could be playing a movie. But actually, it's not. It's quite kind of like a stilted puzzler where you're getting different keys and zombies and stuff. But I was playing it with a load of friends, and then there was a moment where, everyone started screaming, and I just turned it off. And then the woman whose house it was went, "You are not to do that again. You're never allowed to play this game again." And I didn't, and I never played a Resident Evil game until Resident Evil 4 came out on PS2.
Okay, I was going to say original 4, yeah.
Yeah, original 4. And that was just, I think for a long time, that was the greatest game I'd ever played.
For a lot of people it was.
Because I think it's difficult for people to comprehend how revolutionary that was, how revolutionary that game felt when it came out. Like over-the-shoulder third-person action. The games didn't play like that at all. It was the precursor before Gears of War came out and kind of really popularized it. But Resident Evil 4, what that was doing and the way that felt, it just felt like something new. And I became obsessed, and I played that so many times. I played it on PS2, so I didn't play the best version of it. I know that. People have reminded me, but I still had a nice time. Allow me to have nice things, people. Don't ruin my memories. You could have had a better time playing this version. Well, I didn't. I didn't play the GameCube version. I'm sorry. I never had a GameCube. Did you have a GameCube?
I did. Yeah.
Did you love it?
I still have my copy of Resident Evil 2 on the GameCube. Funnily enough, and I remember. Firstly, I was in shock because it wasn't on a PlayStation, which was a whole other conversation in itself. But I remember thinking at the time that this feels revolutionary, and I feel panicked when I'm playing it because the controls have that. It was at a time where the controls were trying to be a bit more realistic, so you could only stand still and shoot. And as a result, because the enemies were coming at you from all angles, you were constantly panicked and under fire. It's that adrenaline that I live on.
Yeah,
I live for it.
The village opening sequence is such a way, with everyone going bingo, classic, well done, Leon. Leon absolutely got him there. Yep. But the fact that you could, the reticule, and it was the little red thing that you could move and you'd shoot their limbs off. It felt really dynamic and interesting, and it felt like a puzzle. You're going to go for the legs and then go for the kick, or you're going to go for the head. It was a good game. And last year, my game of the year was Resident Evil 4 Remake. Was my game of the year. I did everything on that game.
Yeah.
To get the highest rank on professional.
Yes.
You've got to do that with 15 saves
under
or
3
less,
hours.
and under 3 hours. Yeah. And I did, and I was going for my run, and there's a really long section in the middle to do it. I used kind of someone's kind of assisted guide of like when is the best points to save, and there's a particular long section where you're going through where you're assisting Ashley in doing like a load. Ashley has to have the armor by that point. It's just not a possibility. But there was a sequence where you jump down and all of these suits of armor start attacking you. And I'd also done the entire bit where the giant. This is not good content for people to remember my journey through. But anyway, this big long section that was back in was probably about 45 minutes, and Ashley bugged out and wouldn't jump down after I'd done this section, and I'd done 45 minutes, and I hadn't saved in 45 minutes. So it really bad, and I went, oh no, what am I going to do? And I went and had some food and went, Ben, sit down. It's 45 minutes of your life. You can do it again. And I lost 45 minutes worth of save. And it felt like the end of the world not because it was 45 minutes, but because it's hard. You're really concentrating and you have to do everything perfect. And you've got to be just going at like 100 miles an hour to get through that game really, really quickly and skipping all the cut sequences.
Yeah. I used a skip.
What's that?
There was, There's a gate, which is there's an elevator that you take up. Because to get there, you have to do this section where Ashley is in a truck and she's swinging a big ball at a wall.
Yes.
You can skip the entire of that section because there's a gate that you can unlock to come back through. It's like a shortcut. But if you point the sniper rifle at the floor and turn the settings down and spin the camera around really fast, you glitch through the gate. That saves you about 15 minutes. And I was like, yes.
I know about this section. I know what that is. I wish I'd done that. I didn't do that. I would have done. It's not. I'm not.
Speedrunners do it all the time.
Pro strats, baby. Pro strats. Just got to use them.
Just being efficient. That's what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. The game lets you do it. Yeah. Come on. Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
Hey, I'm exposing my balls right now by telling people that I use pro speedrun strats to platinum Resident Evil.
Oh my God. Didn't realise I was talking to such a big deal.
That's right. Well, do you know what I mean? I've got leather-bound books and everything, so...
Absolutely. I can see a few of them back there and they look great.
They're not real books.
I can smell them from here. The fake leather.
But yeah, Resi 4 is a masterpiece. It really is.
Yeah, it is. And I think... I mean, I even think the Resident Evil 3 remake is good.
It is.
Don't hate me.
No.
I mean, I love being able to do that game in 55 minutes.
Yeah.
Let me do it with the Infinite Rocket Launcher. It's fun.
Yeah.
I adore how those games are scary, they are difficult, they are challenging, and then they say do it again, but you've got infinite ammo. That's why it's fun. They are completely different games when they become shooting galleries.
Yeah.
They are no longer the psychological puzzles that you have to kind of get through. They are playgrounds for chaos, and they let you do it. They give you bunny ears, for God's sake. It's fun. Bunny ears. Cat ears. They give you cat ears.
All sorts of...
They let you dress up like a 1930s gangster. Of course, they recognize how stupid it is. Because those games are not terrifying, they're camp in the best way.
Yeah. 99 Nights.
Yeah, it's so yeah, anyway, that's my take on Resident Evil.
Okay. We're going to take a little trip back in time.
Yes.
And talk about mini Ben Starr for a moment.
Yeah.
So you were born in Bristol.
Yep.
But from speaking to you and listening to you, I would never have guessed that, because you don't have an accent at all. Did you ever have a strong Bristolian accent? Never.
I did not have a strong Bristolian accent, no. I grew up in a place called Clevedon, which is half an hour probably by car from Bristol. It's halfway between Weston-super-Mare on the M5 and Bristol.
Right.
And I went to school in Bristol. My dad worked at Bristol University. He was the deputy finance director there. So he would drive in every single day. I went to school in Bristol and I didn't ever pick up the accent. I don't know why. My mum was from Croydon. My dad was from Huddersfield. And I lived in an area where everyone has a strong West Country accent. Yeah. I also didn't realise that anyone around me had an accent until I left and came back. I didn't realise that my godmother, Alison, talks like that the whole time. And she's like, "Hello, Ben, how are you?" And I'm like, I did not realise that Alison had an accent until I left and went to university and came back and went, "Holy shit, Alison's had an accent the whole time." Oh my God. I've been lied to. Yeah, I didn't realise how strong it was because that's what my mate sounded like, you know? And it wasn't... I remember being called like posh boy and stuff, but I wasn't. I just didn't have an accent.
I don't understand. Oh, hang on.
Why? What do you mean, peasant child? I'm not posh. I didn't think about it at the time.
It was almost the 13th Duke of Wimbledon there.
Yes, of course. I do. Yeah, I don't. Some people joke that I sometimes get into it, but I don't think I have. I think I got a very boring accent. I got a very meh.
I'd say well spoken. But, you know,
I think it's really backwards. So I went to drama school, and I think one of the weirdest and most dangerous things is assuming that RP, which is apparently what I speak is the base accent. What a weird thing to think that in order to teach other accents, you have to learn RP and then base it off that. What a stupid, backward way of thinking.
That is weird.
The idea that the correct way of speaking is the way that I talk, and everywhere else, the rest of the world are incorrect. What a stupid... Sorry, this is me really getting into it.
I really don't. Go for it.
I don't enjoy it. I think it's so classist. I think anyone that is part of an education system that is now outdated, and I actually think that the classical training that I did at Lambda, which I loved, by the way, I was very fortunate to go to Lambda, and it's a very, very good school. But I do think there were some dated practices that were inherited from a system that it was, drama school at the time that I was going to was still trying to satisfy a theatrical elite that no longer existed. The idea of going into the RSC or the National or something like that was catering to everyone had to talk like this, and that was the correct way of doing Shakespeare. And you shan't talk another accent other than this, and that's what you do. The greats of the RSC, they're all from the regions. But Patrick Stewart's from Yorkshire. But no, Patrick Stewart talks like this now. It's crazy.
I do love him, though.
Yeah, I like his dad. In his old age, though, he's now kind of gone back to. He now sells Yorkshire tea. I'm like, good for you. From Huddersfield. He's where my dad's from. It's a strange thing. But yeah, I think my accent is fine. I enjoy other accents more than mine.
So you're an accent enjoyer?
Oh, yeah. Give me an accent any day over mine. So give me anything that isn't my accent, and I'll love it. My fiancée Naomi, she is so good at doing different accents. She's an actress. I met her on Jamestown. She played Jocelyn in Jamestown, the lead. And we've been together for 7 years.
Amazing.
And she is not only an excellent actor, she is also a chameleon when it comes to accents.
I'm obsessed with accents.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's
she does this thing which I think is very silly, where she is she's kind of, she grew up in West London. She grew up in Leicestershire, really. Then she moved to West London, and so she's kind of spoken like this, just like me, like a nothing accent. But because she is a very pretty blonde white girl, she will be treated a certain way. There is the stigma of whatever that is, the privilege and stigma of being that. She will not be seen as a physical threat in any sort of that. So when we were once in a shop, and there was a bit we were like an off license at 2 a.m. You know, we're buying crisps, we're buying Lucozade. We don't know why we're buying them, but we're drunk and we're buying them. And then someone just like comes in and starts making, you know, somebody's very, very drunk, comes in and starts making a real ruckus in there and starts being quite abusive to the shop owner. And the shop owner's like, get out. And we're standing there. And instead of doing nothing, Naomi went, all right, babe, don't do that. What you talking? And just suddenly went into this character, this like Peggy Mitchell,
Amazing.
EastEnders. And I was like, who the hell is this? And she was drunk, but you wouldn't have known it. She suddenly switched on and just became this like, get the fuck out of my pub sort of vibe. And she was taken seriously because it was that kind of like thing. And this person was, oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'll leave. And the person left. And I looked at her like, why did you do that? She went, I don't know. I just wanted instinct. And she can do like 10, 15 different accents. She's one of these annoying people where she's, you know, she could trick anyone into doing stuff.
I can do like 4, but I'm not going to do them now.
What 4 are they though?
So no, because then I'll be tricked into doing them.
I don't want to hear them. I won't put you on the spot. I will believe that you are exemplary in all of them.
I have a convincing Northern Irish accent.
Fantastic.
A bit of a Walken, Christopher Walken. So
okay, great. You don't need to do it for me. I'm not asking. I'm trusting you. We all trust you.
Sometimes I can do Scottish.
Okay, great. When are those times?
When I'm drunk.
Fantastic, great. The best times. Also, you don't have to be the best times. You don't have to be drunk to have fun.
No, exactly. No, I occasionally.
But you do to do a Scottish accent, and that is very, very important.
Exactly. And as a Greek Cypriot, sometimes I can pull off a Cypriot style, which I have done previously when I've been asked questions by people in public I don't want to answer, and I sort of come out with garbled foreign accent, and people just leave me alone. I feel quite terrible for it, but at the same time, I don't want to be harassed.
Yeah.
But I feel like I can get away with it because I look foreign, and people often tell me that. So it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah, but all good fun. I love an accent, so
you do love an accent, and you can do 4 convincing ones depending on how intoxicated you are.
Exactly, there's levels, so
Yeah, thank God you're wasted now, so you can show us your Scottish accent.
What?
Don't know. I said you wouldn't have to do it. Don't worry, I'm not going to put you on the spot.
What? No, I'm not going to do it. Right, moving on. So, obviously, your love of acting came from watching your mum on stage, and then the great Jim Carrey's performances in things like Ace Ventura and The Mask. But I also understand you had a love for improv as well. Now, where did that come from? And depending on your answer here, I might lose my mind, and I'll tell you afterwards why. But I just want to. I'm interested in that.
Where did my love of improv come from? I don't think it didn't. It didn't come from watching improv. It didn't come from like. And I really appreciated things like Whose Line Is It Anyway and stuff, and I would watch it and be like, wow, that's an incredible. Obviously, it's an institution. It's absolutely amazing. I'd watch these magicians do this. It's impossible. How can someone think so quickly and be so funny without it being written down? And I choose to believe that it wasn't written down. I choose to believe that they were genuinely that quick. And I have seen improvisers do that on the fly. So I believe that is absolutely possible. But when you train in drama school or you go to youth theatre, you do improv all the time. Improvisation is a part of any sort of drama education, whether it's like youth theatres or drama school. And improvisation is, we all improvise. You and I are improvising right now. We didn't plan this conversation. Everyone improvises. It's you listen to something and then you keep talking. I have no idea what I'm going to say next. I'm improvising as I go. Everyone does it. So when people say they're not good at improvisation, I'm like, you're a liar. You're doing it now.
True.
It's what gets in the way is that needs to be interesting. You think I'm not interesting enough. And then there's also a fear that improvisation is, so you have to be funny, which is not true. Nor do you have to be interesting. And some of the best improv I've ever seen is neither of those things, but it's very, very, very compelling. And I loved it. And I also am a big doer. I love to do stuff, so get stuck in and make mistakes. And we're all in on the joke when it's improv. We get it. We get that things are going to go wrong, and that's the fun of it, I think.
Yeah, I was obsessed with Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
And this is why I sort of got a bit over it, because I honestly, I think in a diverging timeline where my drama teacher didn't leave school halfway through and I could no longer do GCSE drama, I would have gone on to follow that. They had us do Whose Line Is It Anyway improv in class, and it was one of the best things I had ever done.
Yeah, at university, I was a member of the Improvised Musical Society there, and we would improvise musicals. We'd go to, we'd do shows, and we'd ask for the name of the musical, the setting, and the name of a song that we would sing. In an hour, we'd around that. I am not particularly gifted at musical theatre, nor am I particularly gifted improviser, but I'm a trier. And it was great. We did some balls, some like. So I went to Durham University, and there were different colleges, and there'd be college balls that would happen in the summer, and we'd be on at like 3 a.m. entertaining just very, very drunk 19, 20-year-olds shouting, the setting should be your mum's pants, and you're like, okay. Really clever stuff. God, right. That university tuition money's really going to good use there. Wow, God, there's Britain's future right there. The financial institutions of this country are in safe hands with Derek over there. Yeah, it was good. It was good. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoy kind of again solving puzzles. Solving puzzles. Yeah.
We mentioned earlier about your performance as a street urchin in Les Mis.
Yes.
11 years old, right? When you did it.
I was 11 years old, yeah.
I'm going to flash an image on the screen, which I may or may not have stolen from your Instagram. It was a newspaper clipping.
Yeah.
And that's a young age to be on stage in front of that many people. What was going through your head back then?
Terrifying. Yeah. Terrifying. I mean, I'm an exhibitionist. I'm actually not. I'm an introvert. But if you put me on stage, then I'm an exhibitionist. There's the versions of yourself. Like I would choose to do not pick me in an audience. I do not want to be picked. But if you do, I will perform for you because I recognize that that's the job. Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I was at the Bristol Hippodrome. I think that seats about 2,500 people. So at 11 years old, with the full might of the Les Misérables machine playing Gavroche, and this is at the time when the set moved. It doesn't move anymore in the same way that it did, but it was on a revolve and it would move around, and two things would kind of come together, and it was the most elaborate set. And that was cool. We'd do alternate weeks. So one week I'd do 3 shows, one week I'd do 5 shows, because it'd be 8 shows a week, 2 different casts. So yeah, it was sometimes 5, sometimes 3. And I did that for 3.5 months, maybe 4 months. It was a huge part of my childhood, and made me realize that I wanted to be an actor. I'm very proud, very, very proud. That musical holds a real place in my heart. And I can't really listen to the music in the same way that other people listen to it, because I obviously listen to it every single night. Yeah. What a cool thing to be a part of. I felt very lucky. But I didn't go off and do other stuff. I just went back to school.
Yeah.
That's not true, actually. You won't have read this. I presented an award at the Disney Channel Kids Awards in 2000 to Chris Tarrant. Yes, I did.
Wow.
Yeah, I got to meet S Club 7, Atomic Kitten,
oh, wow.
Westlife at the peak of their powers.
Okay.
At the Wembley Arena.
Damn.
God, I was destined for great things, wasn't I?
I mean, that is like gold in terms of like British music.
Yeah, in that era,
so.
Reach. I mean, literally the big hit at the time. The S Club. This is where we're at. Had just released "Reach for the Stars." Okay. That is where we were in the S Club oeuvre.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm
Atomic Kitten still had Kerry Katona in it. That's where we were at.
Wow. Okay.
So this is so specific.
I'm old, so I remember all of this. It's.
I don't know why. I mean, God, wow. If your audience loved the Bloodborne chat, and now I'm talking about Kerry Katona, like it's whiplash, isn't it? Really, with me?
Anything goes. I want to do this with look. I want to deadpan the camera here. Anything goes in interview sessions.
Yeah,
there you go.
It does. Nothing's off limits.
No, that's right. And including this next question, which is very strange. I apologise, but this is something that popped up, and I almost had to. I wanted to fact check it because I wasn't sure if it was real. Mm-hmm. I was looking at your everything you did, university, etc.
Is this my Wikipedia that hasn't been changed?
Yes, and I was sat there thinking. I thought
this is the Gerbil Breeding Society.
How did you know?
Because someone changed it, and I can't be bothered to change my Wikipedia.
I was sat there thinking, has Ben done this on purpose as a joke, and left it in there, or has someone done it? And I thought that can't be real.
I don't know who did it, but also I'm so lazy and care so little about my public image that I haven't changed it. Also, the fact that it's very clear that as a serious actor, I've chosen to just completely undermine myself at every turn in public and ridicule myself, that I'm like, you know what? People will probably believe it. That's the person people think you are. Yeah, it's fine. I don't mind. I'd love to. I don't know who did it, and maybe it was on a podcast. I think I was doing a podcast interview, and I said I don't really care about my work. So who wants to listen to this and change my Wikipedia to something? Go on, I dare you. Make it fine. Make it okay. Make it above board, but make it weird. Why not?
Amazing. So obviously we moved on to do television.
Yes.
Eventually, and I really struggled with the pronunciation of Dickensian at the start.
Yes,
but I kind of got it.
What did you struggle with?
I was going to say Dickens.
Yes.
You want to say Dickens, right? And,
yeah.
I was like Dickens, and then I saw it in an interview. Someone said Dickensian. I was like, of course, there it is.
Dickensian.
Did that? You did Jamestown.
I did
as well. And then recently you popped up in an episode of You.
I did.
Nico Leandros. Now, I don't watch You, but I did put that episode on just so I could see.
Yeah.
You played quite the bad lad in that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Is that something that's not... I don't know. Am I wrong in saying that you don't normally play that kind of character? Or
I enjoy playing those characters.
Yeah. More
than I enjoy playing good characters, but you take what you're given. You take what you're given, really, don't you?
No.
I love dickheads. I've enjoyed playing a villain or a delicious villain more than I enjoyed playing the good guys, but I ended up playing good guys for a bit.
Yeah.
I enjoy. I in Midsummer Murders, and I played dickhead in Midsummer Murders. I mean, I think there's a couple like in You, I'm a dickhead. In Midsummer Murders, I'm a dickhead. In Death in Paradise, I'm a dickhead. So like, there's those I play arseholes, and I enjoy playing arseholes. But in Dickensian and Jamestown, there was a continuation because they were the same car. That Dickensian happened, and there was this dashing kind of like not like heartthrob, but just like down on his luck kind of guy, and that kind of continued into Jamestown. Really, the same kind of. So they're the same. They're not the same, obviously. I'm very transformed performer, but I like arseholes. Yeah. Clip that. There you go.
I like arseholes.
Someone's gonna clip that. I like playing. I like playing with. I like being like really nasty people.
Yeah. It's
because
fun.
There's something so delicious. They get cooler language. They get to be more mean. There's a vindictive part that I don't. Obviously, I think I'm a nice guy. You don't get to live out in real life, and so actually, there's something quite fun about that.
I often find myself gravitating towards this sounds really bad as well. Playing a villain.
Yeah.
If it comes up, one common theme on the videos on this channel when I'm analysing a specific video game, there is always in a video game a dick, and I quite proudly pronounce that in the video. I say, "Sir, you are an absolute," and I scream it. I just go, "You're a dick."
Great.
Is there, if you were going to call one of your characters a dick, which one would you do? And can you do it? Just go, "You are a dick." Just
which one? Which character do you want me to call?
Whichever one you feel comes to you first.
Oh God, I don't even know the name of half my characters. He says yawning. Well, yawning. Wow, your voice is that good. Look at that. Oh, hello.
Are you sitting comfortably?
Oh my God, don't. You'll make me yawn again. Bedtime for me.
So,
bedtime for me and some hot chocolate and a nice bath. Apparently I'm doing bedtime and then I'm having hot chocolate and then I'm having a bath.
Look what I've done.
It's chaos in my house.
Dr. Christopher Priestley then?
Oh yeah, he's fine. He's a bit of a weird. Okay, right. So Christopher Priestley was the guy I played on Jamestown, and he was just a bit of a soft, wet person. Yeah. Dr. Christopher Priestley, you are a dick. There you go.
Perfect. About 13,000 people just lost their minds.
Great.
I love that. Right. We'll get to some... Well, we'll talk briefly about Natural 6 and then we'll get some Quickfire stuff before we have to close everything down. You started Natural 6 recently.
Yes.
Playing a Wood Elf Wizard called Radiant Thornbear.
Yeah.
Now, I have a big love for D&D. I used to play a lot of it, and so this is very exciting stuff. And was this your first time ever playing D&D, or
basically, yeah? I mean, it's the best way of doing it, and people told me I picked the hardest class, so yay!
A wizard was my first class, so it's
what fun!
It's the best.
I love it. I feel as the more I play, the more I realise I realise how much fun being a wizard is. It's really hard. You have to think, because you do have, I'm about to level up. I'm about to get to level 5. About to be a 5th level, so spells are about to just like kick in. I can literally get fireball now. That's where we're at now. I have a palette of colours with which to paint whatever I want, and I love item economy. So spell economy is fun. Going, am I going to cast this at 2nd level? Am I going to do it? It's really cool to think about. And also, I love glass cannons.
Yes.
I love them. I did a thing the other day in one of our sessions where my character is really dangerous because he doesn't really think. He just does. And that's really, really dangerous. And so it places him in positions that might weaken him, and I like that. And I like him being with how powerful he is. He is also could go down at any moment, and I think that's really cool. I want him to be in danger. It makes it exciting for me. Going into a battle knowing that I only have 2 spell slots left. That's terrifying. What am I going to do? Obviously, fortunately, I've picked Toll the Dead as a cantrip, and it's just so OP. So yeah, I'm lucky. This is really specific D&D stuff now. About but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying learning. I'm enjoying making mistakes. I'm enjoying figuring out what the individual dice do. I'm still like, what's a D8? What's the difference between a D8 and a D12? And just because I'm on the fly, you want to be like, oh, I know exactly what that is. But just sometimes I'm like, okay, what are they? And I've got so many different dice now. Which one's which?
Yeah. And it's improv again, isn't it? We're back to improv because you're playing a character, and I think that's what I love about it so much is that you are telling that story on the fly. Yeah. It's you. Mm-hmm. And that's what's...
And Harry McIntyre, who's our DM, is such a role-play DM. He is bringing characters to this story. This is his world, and he populates it with the people that he wants to. I think in episode 7, that we recorded. I get to do an improv that I'm so proud of with him. He messaged me afterwards going, I think that's one of my favourite improvs we've ever done. Because it's silly, it's fun. It does it have any right to be there? Probably not. But if you're with us up to episode 7, then you'll perfectly buy it. And you know, it was again a series of problems that were solved by fun role play. You know, wanting to, and willing to kind of play and figure out how we solve a problem. And he's not a DM who's like, I'm going to be really hardcore and stop you from doing it. He wants us to do well. He's going to find ways that we can unlock the treasures of the world that he's created. And so it never feels like I am not able to do anything I want to do. Yeah. Unless I roll a really bad insight check, and then I can't. And I don't find the goodies in the room, and I'm really annoyed. Everyone else, there was this, in the second episode, everyone goes into these individual rooms, and every single one of our party rolled roll perception. Yeah, like roll perception. Everyone got like an 18, and I got like a 4, and everyone who rolled high found some magical item, and I didn't find one in my room. Damn it! And I was like, oh, maybe Radiant would really like the goodies in that room. No, there's definitely something there. And we have a post show called Action Surge, which we record straight after the episode, which is like us analysing what the episode was like for us. And I was like, what did I not get? Well, I want to know what I didn't get in that room. Because there's that, you know, the completionist side of me wants to get it right, but then there's the role play side of me going, actually, I quite like that I didn't get it. But you've kind of got to learn it's not a game, you know, it is a game, but it doesn't need to be gamed. There is joy in failure, and I'm learning that a lot in D&D.
But no, I'm glad that you're into it and enjoying it, because it is. I
love it.
The most fun. I even saw you play Magic the Gathering on the channel recently, which was
yeah, God, that was so fun. Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering is a game that at the beginning of the day I do not know how to play this game, and then we had a guy called Adam the Gathering. That's his handle. He came on and taught us how to play the commander deck. So we each had a commander deck. We built them around our characters. I've never had so much fun playing something because it felt safe. I didn't know this game. It seems kind of impenetrable to begin with. And then you just start playing and you go, oh, this makes sense. You know, tap some land, make some choices, read what's on the card, play, see what happens, just enjoy, make strategic choices. Yes, the cards become increasingly complicated and the rules can shift, but we had someone help and advise us. You might want to do this. It was great. Yes, we were drinking alcohol as we did it. It was fun. It was great. Yeah, you've got good friends, good cards. It's great.
Yeah, I play TCGs with my friends all the time, and it's an expensive hobby. Let's just say.
Yeah.
But is it something you could see yourself getting into? That's the other thing.
Yeah, I can see myself getting into a lot of things. I have a very addictive personality, so yeah, I could see doing it. Will I? We'll find out as I do more things in the TTRPG space, just in general. It's going to be more likely that I will continue to engage in those sorts of activities and do it, because I'm just a big nerd who likes collecting stuff. You know, I collected all the Pokemon cards as a kid. I just found out that Final Fantasy have just released a Clive card for their.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to get that.
You have to get one.
I've decided I'm going to sign one of them, and that's it.
That'll be worth a lot of money.
That's why I was like, I'm going to make one really valuable.
And then keep
and then, yeah, game the system, you know, that has that one card.
Right, well, we'll rattle off really quickly some quickfire questions,
Great.
If that's all right.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, because you're fast becoming well known for your self-produced short-form videos, which I think I mentioned before the show started. I found absolutely hilarious.
Yes.
One of them in particular, which is one of your recent ones, the Badass Surnames Crime Fighting Club.
Yes.
Can I join that club, please?
Yes, you can. You've got a badass surname, so you're allowed in.
Thank you. Where does the inspiration for these videos come from?
My brain.
Excellent.
It literally just comes to my brain. I go, Sam Lake, do you want to do something great? What do you want to do? I don't know. And I write something in a haze.
Amazing.
I showed you clips of one that I'm working on right now, and that was just me going 2 a.m. Okay, I need to write something for all of these people I'm doing this video with. Great. That's what it is.
Amazing. You have a birthday on April Fool's Day.
I do.
Has anyone ever played a prank on you on your birthday? for April
Not
Fools?
one that's memorable for me.
No.
Never. No. People just go, "Oh, you're a fool," and I go, "Got me." Someone call the police man down. Yeah, there's been a murder. Wowee.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
A long time ago, you stated that every day you ask yourself 2 questions. One was, how would you cope in a post-apocalyptic world? And 2 was, is that dairy-free? How would you cope in a post-apocalyptic world?
I'm pretty savage. I'm pretty. I'd be good. Yeah. I come across nice, but like I would absolutely kill you if you cross me. So yeah. No, I think I'd be alright. Yeah, why not? Back yourself. Yeah, let's go for it. I think I'd survive. I think I'd die a hero's death.
Yeah.
You know? I like to think I'd die a hero's death.
Just charge in and go for it.
Yeah, just charge it. You didn't need to charge in, Ben. It's not really a hero's death. You just charged in and attacked someone. You
just did it anyway.
You just committed a crime, Ben. That's what happened. Yeah.
Your friend and fellow Final Fantasy, and that's not even a word, Ralph Ineson recently got cast as Major Villain Galactus. If you could play if you could be cast in a Marvel movie, which one would you want to be cast in? And if you don't like Marvel films, then that is
no. I love Marvel films. God, I love Marvel films. I often rewatch if I ever want to cry. Because who doesn't love a cry? I still find the end game on your left, everyone coming through, Avengers Assemble, that whole sequence.
Yes.
I don't know why, but I get so moved by it. I'm like, they're all here. I think it's just something about friendship and the power of culmination of just like a vision over a long period of time. I think it's, some people don't like it, but I think it's cinema. I think it's so, it might be MSG, artificial flavoring, all of it, but it tastes good. I really love that. Who would I want to play? I don't know. I would want to be more. I wouldn't want to be in the Captain America Thor stable. I would want to be like a street level character, or kind of more in the Ant-Man vibe. That sort of. There, I don't know, because I know now we're kind of going into lesser known superheroes from that sort of stable.
Maybe you can be the new Iron Fist. He's street level.
I mean, now that they're bringing Daredevil, the actual Iron, who played Iron Fist in the
weirdly, someone that I'm loosely related to.
No way.
Yeah, so it's one of my cousin's family members.
Yeah,
that is, and I found this out, and I was like, oh, we'll just call him Iron Cousin then.
Yeah, good for him. That was an interesting time in Marvel. And we had the Defenders or whatever it ended up being.
Yeah.
Not. I think there was some good stuff there.
I enjoyed it.
I don't know. It's a really good question. I don't know. I'd want to be a good one. The pressure of being in a friend of mine is also in that film. Joseph Quinn. He plays Johnny Storm. He's going
to be Johnny Storm in the new Fantastic
Four.
I love him.
I went for drinks. I went for drinks with him. The day that I was nominated for the Game Award, I went for drinks with him. And never did thing bring you down to earth more than being like, I got nominated for a Game Award. It's like, well, I've been cast in Fantastic Four. I'm about to go, Gladiator 2 with Pedro Pascal, and I'm like, great, good for you. So I did Dickensian with him. Joe was in Dickensian with me. He was, and he's done incredibly well. A very, very.
I think Stranger Things was stratospheric for him, and rightly so. He's in A Quiet Place 2. Oh, the Quiet Place prequel. There's the
Day One.
Yeah.
He's very good. He deserves a huge amount of success. I think very, very talented. But there you go. I don't know. Let me just have a nice time, the fun role. Maybe I'll just be in S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe I'll just be like a funny accounts guy in S.H.I.E.L.D.
That'll do. Well, let's put it out there and get you on, yeah?
Yeah. Why not? Yeah, I'll do it. I text Ralph the day that he got cast as it, and I just love it. he's just so down to earth about stuff. I was like, yeah, it's a bit mad. I'm like, yes, it's absolutely mad, Ralph.
Kneel before Galactus.
He's going to be so good. That man has a remarkable voice, and he's just a cool guy. He's just a cool guy, and he just threw himself into Final Fantasy. Didn't understand this world, didn't realize how popular it was going to be, and he's obviously amazing as Sid. I think he's crafted one of the best Sids, and I think a lot of it is because of his performance, but also he's just been a very good friend. So yeah.
Solid guy. Final question.
Yes.
You said in an interview that Sam Patworth played the Golden Girls theme after completing quests.
Yes.
Who is the best Golden Girl?
Blanche.
Correct. There we go.
There you go. God, I love that theme tune. Also, one of my favorite things of all time. Ben, the hyperbole. My favorite things of all time. If I want to hype myself up, there is a video of a guy, of a gospel singer singing alongside to the Golden Girls theme music, and he's singing kind of like gospel trills on top of it. Anyone go and watch it. It is just amazing. It's like an old video, probably from about kind of like 10 years ago, but just go and watch it. He just like singing along to the theme tune. It's banging. Love that theme tune. It's so part of Final Fantasy XVI canon. Love it.
I'll check it out.
There you go.
Fantastic. Right, Ben, thank you so much for coming on and answering these quite random questions. But it has been an absolute pleasure having you here. I look forward to whatever it is you're working on next, which I believe includes Warframe 1999.
It does include Warframe 1999. There's lots of these video games, right? You can't talk about the other stuff that you're doing in between them, but I'm very lucky to be given lots of opportunities. But yes, Warframe is a lot of fun. They're cooking up some cool stuff in that game. Yeah, I can't wait.
Amazing. If you want to catch Ben on the socials, you'll see it on screen below his picture. It's right there. _Ben_Starr, is that correct?
That is correct, yeah. The Ben Starr was taken by the popular chef who makes a fantastic sourdough starter.
Damn. But yeah, once again, thank you so much for coming on. It's been absolutely amazing chatting with you. Thank you. As per usual, I'd like to give a massive shout out to my Patreons for your support. You are all absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. If you like what you've watched today, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also like this video. It's a fairly new concept for the channel, so all the comments and feedback is absolutely welcome. And if you haven't done already, you can follow me on Twitter at DonPedroX. I still call it Twitter, not X, sorry. And if you like what I do and fancy support to me, as mentioned, I have a Patreon as well. Right. Thank you very much, and we shall see you next time.
So are we recording?
Yeah, but
this is organic content, right? This is so organic. But when you're saying that you find it weird that you prefer the mirror version of yourself, I think most people do, because that's the version of ourselves that we're most used to seeing. That's the one that we recognize in the mirror. And then when you see it the way you actually look, you go, "That's not me. That doesn't look anything like me." I think I'm really attractive. I think I'm really attractive. End of. No, I think I'm really attractive in the mirror version of myself, but in the normal version of myself, the one that people judge me by, I think I look like a swamp monster. Like, I think I actually look like the worst human being ever. And that's because we're not used to it. We go, that's just not, I don't recognize who that human is. And so as an actor, especially on like screen, I watch myself back and I go, God, why am I so hideous? Why am I the ugliest thing to ever walk the earth?
Yeah, it's what everyone else sees. It's crazy.
Yeah, but I think it's an unhealthy thing that certainly now we're presented with on social media and Instagram or TikTok in particular. I would much rather present the incorrect version of myself, because I feel comfortable with it, as opposed to the one that people have already judged me by my entire life.
I really thought of it that way.
Yeah, but it's because you're used to seeing the mirror version of yourself. You refuse to accept. Your mind refuses to accept that. That's what we see. But I'm seeing you right now, the normal version of yourself, and you are a very beautiful man. And you should never feel like you need to reverse yourself.
You're too kind. We're 2 minutes in, and already we're like deep.
We're in. We're deep in it. I mean, I opened with "I find myself very attractive," so that was
great.